Yeah, hello all. Good evening. So, can you guys hear me in the chat? Can you guys confirm in the chat that is the audio fine? Okay, perfect. So I just switched my system, so that's the reason. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Shai. Good evening. Yeah. Perfect. So let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Yeah. Good evening, Sudhakar. Yeah, I guess we can start our session, so people may join a bit later, but fine. So yeah, once again, welcome to the demo session 2. And this is also recorded and will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, right? So let's move on to the today's session. So before going to the booting process, uh, let me just confirm you that. Just a sec. So please make sure you download this ISO and VMware if you want it to be used in your local machine. So the local machine basic requirement is for you to have the system requirement is like hard disk to be at least 20 gigs should be available, and RAM should be of 4 gigs. And actually 4 gigs we won't be using fully. We will be using at least 1 or 2 gigs for our VM, but for your base OS it should be there, right? So that's the reason. And your CPU should be 1 core is enough. And you can see all this in your task manager. So just go to your task manager and go to performance, and you can see how many CPU cores you have. In my case, I have 8 core. So, and memory, I have 8 gigs. So mine is fine. So if yours is doesn't like satisfy this requirement, better to use AWS or GCP. I'll be showing you that. So after that, please do download if you want to like practice locally, please do download these two files, the last two files, right? So the RHEL 8.4.ISO and this VMware Workstation Pro. Okay, so no, this screen only. Can you guys see? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry guys. Let me share the whole screen. I guess now you guys can see the screen. Yeah. Thanks, Danny, for making it. So this is the one, right? So the system requirement is this one. So if yours doesn't satisfy this one, so please use your cloud, any one cloud service provider. And yeah, so that is the main thing, because since it is a practical sessions, you must have at least one working lab. Either it can be local or cloud. Okay, so now let's quickly see the booting process. And before that, let me show you how to enable the virtualization. Okay, so your virtualization should be enabled in your machine. So why? Because Let me show you that. Let me quickly install it. Did anyone face any issue while downloading the ISO or something like it was interrupted or something? Please do let me know in the chat. We will see that. Yeah, Daniel, I unmuted you.
Yeah, so I downloaded both, and
Yeah,
when
even
I try
yesterday
to
itself you downloaded, right? Yeah.
when I
So,
try to open it, it says that the modification
uh-huh.
it doesn't open. Yeah, it's
Uh,
give off like a
let,
pop-up screen.
okay, we will see that. Yeah, we will see
Okay,
that. So
all right.
yeah. So the first thing is, let me explain what is virtualization and the difference between a container and a VMware, how it works. Okay, so yeah, just a sec. So let's check whether yeah. So fine. So let's say this is the VMware, and you guys might have not used or might have heard this term called as containers. Okay, and both are almost same. And in your production servers or in your enterprise, it is a combination of VMware as well as containers. Okay, so that is the unable to hear you. Please do drop and join back, Sudhakar. Okay, so yeah, let's see the base OS first one. So so in my case, the base OS is Windows 11. Okay, so let me type that. Right, so next one would be the software. So in my case, or in this VMware, you should be using just a sec, let me go there also. So you will be using VMware Workstation Pro, right? So VMware Workstation Pro. Whereas here you will be using Docker Windows client. It is nothing but a software, right? So, and on top of that, so now is where it will be interesting. So here you will be creating multiple VMs, VM or virtual machines. Whereas here you have another layer, it is called as Docker engine. Okay, so what is Docker engine now? So Docker engine, so it is the one which will be converting whatever you are doing with your machine to the machine language, right? So why? Because you will be having multiple containers instead of a VM. You have multiple containers, and what are all those things we will see in a moment. So let me quickly. And what is the use of container and why industry nowadays move to a container based methods or infra? So the whole infra itself will become a container. Why? Because instead of, so why we need, or why there is a switch, right? So let's say you are developing an application and the app name is let's say the HTTP itself you take. So HTTP Apache server itself you are building, and the exact version, so let's say you have the exact 2.8.1 or something, you need to uh, send this to your colleague, right? So you can't directly send this, right? So obviously you need to send or make a build out of it and send it, right? So, and he should have all the same infra or same VMware. Let's say he is facing some issue, so he should be in the same version VM. So it won't happen most cases, but in some cases it might happen, right? So there might be a dependency issue, or he might have been not installed a specific driver or so, right? So many things to be considered when it comes to VMware. Whereas in a container, there is a common Docker engine, right? So that would take care of most of the virtualization. Here also it does the virtualization, and everything will be bundled as a image. Okay, so the HTTP image or the Apache image. So let me show you that. Docker hub.docker. So if you see here, the most famous, like your Ubuntu is there, Python is there. So all are separate images. Okay, so this image you will be loaded to a like you can create a container out of that image. Okay, so that is the concept of containers, and anyhow during that session we'll be seeing much more how it works and all, but this is the main difference, right? So here what we are doing is we are doing a thing called as resource sharing via virtual, right? So what is virtual now? So we physically have this. So in my case, I physically have 8 core and 16 logical threads are there, and my memory is around 8 gigs, right? So I'm going to virtually allocate this one to the VMware, so which we are going to install in a moment. And in order to do that, your virtualization to be enabled. So for this only, I explain this concept. So your virtualization is so if this is by default, it will be disabled. You can even check in yours or your laptop. If you are not, never installed or worked on a VMware, this would be disabled. Okay, why? Because by default, the manufacturer or the vendor doesn't allow you to like enable this one. So this will be disabled in your BIOS. So the first thing you need to do is you need to search for your, let's say you're in a laptop, right? So you're going to enable the virtualization settings. So how to enable that? So let's say you are in a HP, right? So HP, yeah. So this is my personal laptop. So HP Victus. So if I want to enable in that, so just search for your laptop model or the laptop vendor like HP, Dell, or anything. So let me, the first link will be the official one, right? So in this case, this is not the official one. Yeah, this one, HP support. So here clearly it will be mentioned that, yeah, so you need to, first thing you need to turn on your machine and go to the BIOS section, and you can enable the virtualization technology, right? So once you enable, you need to reboot save it and reboot your machine. That's it, right? So for this is for HP, like that. For Dell, it is there like that. Every vendor has their official site. The first link will be the official one mostly. So why I am mentioning every vendor you need to check is each vendor has their own BIOS key. Okay, so that is the issue. So most cases it will be F2, but in some cases it might be in F10 or F9 in some cases. So better to check, or like based on the vendor, you can do that. Even Lenovo you can search for. So Lenovo, yeah, how to enable virtualization in Lenovo PC, or yeah. So here itself, they even give a screenshot. Okay, so why I'm explaining this is I can't show in my case because this is a BIOS screen, right? So that is the thing. Yeah, Raja, I unmuted you.
Thank you, Karthik. When it comes to this Lenovo laptop, what I experienced is I tried the exact step mentioned in that portal. However, you know, when I tried powering off and powering on and pressing F1, it's not getting into the BIOS actually. Okay, but when I did a restart, and then, you know, I pressed F1, it helped me to get into the BIOS actually.
Okay, actually, you can interrupt the boot, Raja. So you just press escape in some cases, And
Yeah.
if like you can hold function and F2. So some laptops, including the function button only, it might work. So that also there will be a settings here to disable the function button during boot itself.
Oh.
So yeah, so you just try with function holding function key and press
Yeah.
F2 or F10 in some cases. So
Yeah.
that also
Yeah.
should work.
Yeah, but I tried the every option you told, but
Mhm.
it helped me only when I reboot, when I power shut down and power on, and I could not able to get in. Maybe I might missed something. I will look into that. Thank you
Sure,
so much.
sure. You just drop an email to me. We will check that, Raja.
No,
Like after the session, if
no
you
problem.
just try the once, and if you're still stuck, you just drop an email to me. We will take a any desk session, and in any desk actually I can see your boot screen also in some cases. So
Oh,
we will see that. Yeah.
in fact, when I tried rebooting, it helped me to restart. It helped me
Mm-hmm.
to get to BIOS, and I changed that setting. I enabled that VD setting accordingly.
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, fine. So let's see. That's what. Like many people miss to enable this one because without enabling, it won't virtualize. Or so by default, that is the reason they're avoiding to give this access to you guys, right? So virtualization will be disabled. So make sure you enable this. And for the people who want like cloud service provider, right? Like AWS or so, you need not worry about any of these. Okay, so that is the thing. And that's what this is the resource sharing. So what are all the resources here? CPU, memory, and yeah, only these two, right? So this will be shared to your VM. So inside this VM only, so yeah, this is the actual VM. We need to install this. Then only inside here only we are installing this HTTP, right? So whereas here you have this Apache's image, right? So along with that, the required library files or that some of the KEX files or many files would be included here, right? So that will be bundled and it will be called as a container. Okay, so all this would be make as a container. This is not the whole thing is not a container. Only this layer would become a container. Whereas here, the whole thing it must be enabled and it should be running, right? So you can simply share this container to your colleague. Only this one to someone, right? So easily there won't be any dependency, right? So because they will be using the same image version, and there won't be any dependencies like library files. All are bundled, right? It is just like your zip. You're creating a zip file, right? Let me show you this. So, okay, it is an empty. So you are creating a compressed one. So all the contents inside, it won't be affected, right? So even though you're sharing to multiple people, the permission or and there won't be a data loss inside this zip, right? So it is same as container concept. Okay. So the next one is the booting procedure. So once we see this booting procedure, we will be installing the machines. So that would be the agenda for the day. So let me just open another one. Is there any doubt, Adarsh? Yes. How can you download? I got confused. Sure, Mohammed, I will explain it once again. So just hold on to that, okay? Because if you download now, the meeting would be like stuck for you or something, right? So because it will consume all your internet. So I will explain this like how to download again using the torrent and browser. So please hold on to that. So now let me explain the booting procedure. Okay. So before that, did Adarsh, you raised your hand? for all the attendees' hands. Can you raise once again if someone has any doubts? If not, we will move on to the this routing procedure. So the first one is what will happen once you turn on your PC or your laptop, right? So as a sysadmin, you should know the background of the whole 50 seconds to at least 3 minutes. In some cases, it might take, right? So what will happen in between, right? So each mission, almost it would be the same process, but you must know that process, right? Because in some cases, you might be stuck in one of the steps. So this is the actual steps in Linux, basically. So this is a very old interview question, and still they're asking in some cases. So that is the thing. So not only for interview, as well as you must know as a sysadmin this one. So why? Because if it is stuck in Grub, you should know, okay, this step only it is stuck, and you need to know how to diagnose that, right? So once you know this booting procedure only, you can at least approach that issue, right? So that is the main thing we will be seeing now. From the time you power on the machine, what happens? So first thing is obviously power on the system. So once you power on the system, I won't go too technical or hardware. I will just give the basic idea. So let me open a motherboard image. So I'm currently using a MSI motherboard. So I will take a MSI board as an example. Okay. Just a board would be fine. Yeah. So this is your actual motherboard, and many would think that your BIOS is residing in the hard disk. Obviously not. So your BIOS is residing in the motherboard only. So your hard disk will be booted after that. Okay, so the next step will be in BIOS, but the first thing whenever you click on the power button, right? So it will send a small ampere of current or a small voltage of current would be sent to throughout the system, right? So to every components, and if it is failed, it will show a error code here. So if I take some costly board, there would be a display there actually in the board, and yeah, you can diagnose that. So you see here, right? So easy debug LED. So you can, so it will be showing here at which stage it is stuck. So what is the process it is doing is post. It is called as power on self test. So why? Because why before itself it is testing every component is once it is booted again, it won't anyhow you will face issue with that hardware, right? So that is the reason it will test all your memory, especially memory. And if your memory is failing, it can't do a temporary storage. Your memory is actually a temporary storage, right? It is as important as your CPU. So both should be getting the power, and that is the thing. So it will do a self test of all the components, your hard disk and Ethernet. It might fail, then also it will boot. There is no issue, but it will do a power on self test for that as well. Okay, so that is the first thing it will do, and if it is failed here, obviously your system won't boot. Okay, so you need to diagnose that in the hardware level. Something is failing in the hardware level or the hardware configuration which is failing. So this is the this LED you will receive. Okay, so that is the first thing. Yeah, this one. This is the error code. So like this, you need to search with your Windows error code sheet. So which error code denotes which issue, right? So that is the thing. And the next one is here, obviously BIOS. So this is the BIOS. So BIOS full form is basic input output system. So as the name suggests, it is like almost everything will be residing in your BIOS. Every settings and your every profiles also. So let me take a BIOS of my MSI one only. So MSI BIOS. So if you see here, so this is the MSI's BIOS screen. So the very first and most important one is yes, all your info of your speed, like your CPU, memory speed, and all the basic information of your system. And if something is not loaded here, let's say your hard disk is not detected, and the boot hard disk is detected, the external one is not detected. Here itself, you can see that actually. In this case, it is not showing here, but it will be in some info page. Okay, so there you can easily see that. Okay, like that hard disk is not visible, right? So that it might be a loose connection or something. But yeah, and the next one is your boot priority. Very, very important. Or boot order. Boot order. Very important, guys. So first thing is, let's say you have hard disk and your pen drive or removable disk and your CD drive. CD DVD drive, right? So this is the boot order. So if you interchange, it will follow this boot order whatsoever. So you must select this boot order. Every machine will have its own boot order. So without your intervention, by default, every vendor would be like even in your once you boot to your BIOS to change the virtualization, right? You just go to that boot option or boot screen. So there you will see this boot order. Okay, so this is the order in this image or this machine is the following. So so yeah, the first one is your hard disk and CD drive and USB disks, right? So the last one is here network. The network boot is also there. So that is the one. So many are there. So your fan control, a lot of stuff would be there. And if you want to overclock your machine or to change the frequency at which your CPU or memory should be changed, so you can do a lot of stuff here. And your CPU memory temperature also you can um, like monitor in this BIOS itself. Right, so that is the use of BIOS, right? So very, very important one. And again, if it is BIOS, it won't fail. But if you're updating your BIOS and during that, if something goes wrong, your BIOS, you need to reset your BIOS. So that is the thing. And moving on to the next one, your master boot record. So there are two methods here. So one is your, let me go to the next one. So there are two partition styles. So the next one is, let's say you booted to the hard disk. So the first, yeah. So the first thing is in boot order, you booted to the bootable hard disk. So this is where your OS is residing, right? So once it is booted, what it will be doing is first thing it will look for whether it is a which partition style it is, whether it is MBR or GPT. Okay, so MBR or GPT. So what is MBR is master boot record, and your GPT is GUID partition table, right? So this is both are called as partition style. And what is the difference between both? So as an end user, you won't see much difference, but actually most cases your MBR is considered for your Linux. GPT mostly it will be for your Windows. Obviously, you can use MBR in Windows as well. The same thing goes for Linux. Like you can use GPT in Linux, but by default, mostly these two are the configuration one. MBR for Linux, GPT is for Windows. Okay, so just a sec. Yeah. So let me show you in your. You can see here, right? Convert to MBR disk. And if you go to my properties, so in the disk management, and just viewing my disk zeros properties. So you see here partition style. Why this partition style is important is, so again, not too technical. So this is how your hard disk will be considered. So let me show you. Hard disk sector. Yeah, perfect. So this is how your hard disk. So once it is loaded, right? So this is how it will be considered. So each sector or many thing, almost every hard disk, it will be doing a sector, right? So the disk sector or how it is approaching that, right? So in that case, both GPT and MBR would be different. So the sectors, well, lot of sectors it will be there. So in my case, it is a 2 TB disk, right? So there will be much more sectors. So if it is a 1 TB disk, it would be not as much as 2 TB disk, right? So you're getting the point, right? So it will be segregating the same disk into different sectors. And the first thing is it need to load a first sector. So it need to decide that. So this is a hard disk example I'm giving you, but in hard disk, this IO head, once it need to load the first sector. So it will be loading for the first time. And so once it is loaded, you will be having a first sector. So what will be residing in that first sector, right? So let me just draw that. So the first sector will have grub. Okay, so the first sector will be very less in size, and in your Windows it will have the EFI. So both are almost same, but in your Windows also that grub screen is there. Okay, so this is the first sector. Let's say this the one. Okay, so this is your first sector. So in this one, you are having grub. Okay, so what is grub now? We will see that. So again, if it is failing to load this one, you will see this no boot disk is found, right? So which means your hard disk is bootable, but that first sector it can't found, or there is something corrupted in that EFI or the grub screen, right? So something went wrong. So it will be stuck here itself. So it will throw that no boot disk found, or it will throw some error at least, right? So you need to diagnose that. So what went wrong, or did something change that setting like that, right? So that's the thing. So let me show you. The next one is here, grub. So what is grub? So grub full form is Grand Unified Bootloader. So what is bootloader then? So bootloader is nothing but every machine or every device has its own bootloader. Even your Android phone or your iPhone or any system, laptop, any device will have its own bootloader. So bootloader is the one which will be deciding you which drivers or which library files to be loaded, right? So just a sec. Yeah, your Android bootloader is also you can see. So the first thing in your grub is, so many might have seen this screen, right? So grub, yeah. So sorry. This one. So you might have seen this one, or if you are a avid Windows user, you might have seen this screen, right? So choose any, choose between any one, like it is Windows or Ubuntu. So if you're doing a dual boot or triple boot is also there, right? So if you're doing triple boot or dual boot, if both the operating system residing in the same disk, let's say your local disk C. So in that case, it will be giving you this output. So this is called as grub screen, by the way, right? So you are going to decide which operating system to be loaded at first. So it is as same as your VM, but in this case, you're virtually accessing it, right? So instead of not physically, but physically it will load all the components, right? So your CPU. Yeah, so boot init file, yeah. So next one we will see that one, the Raja. So that's what. Windows, it would be a different drivers or display drivers. A lot of stuff it would be. All the almost everything would be a different one, or it is approached differently. Ubuntu, it will be approached differently, right? So the same thing goes for any operating system. So you're going to decide here which one to be booted. So that is what called as grub screen. So even in your Windows or your Linux, you will do that. So, and that would be residing under your MBR, right? So that is the, so let me just, this is Windows or Linux. Windows 11. Very good. So you're going to decide which one to be booted. So the next one is, so once you decided that, obviously if you're selecting Linux, the next one would be the kernel. So as I told, kernel is like the most important file in the whole machine, or the most important configuration file in the whole machine. So why it is important and what is the use of a kernel, right? So let's see that. So kernel is the one which will store or which will be serving all the device information, and that is like the, how to say, if kernel is dead or kernel is stuck, the system won't boot, right? So because every configuration files depends on the kernel and boot image, so both are important. So we will see that. Okay, so yeah, kernel. So yeah, disk information, driver loading all your drivers for your let's say display driver, or all these things you see in the device managers, right? So all this hardware and software, uh, there is a bridge between hardware and your software, right? So that is your device drivers. So all these drivers, once it is like, let's say this is my display driver, if something is not working in this one, so again it is like you need to update that. So all those things, it will be loaded in your, you can put it in that way. It is the brain of your system also. So if something goes wrong in your kernel, it is called as kernel panic. So yeah, it will be doing a boot loop. Your system can't even figure out, okay, which one to be booted, or something messed up happen in your system. So that's how important kernel is, right? So that's the thing. And much more it is storing. So I'm just giving a basic info, your network information, and much more actually. So it is very, very important file, and it is a file, by the way. Okay, so again, it will be residing under /boot. So you will see that what is slash and file systems and all. So so once kernel is loaded, the next one is your init process. So init concept is there in your Windows as well, but you guys might have never used that. So by default, Windows loads a GUI mode, but Windows also have a CLI mode. So what is GUI and CLI? Let me quickly explain that. So GUI is graphical user interface, and CLI is command line interface. So simply put, graphical user interface is command line interface. So graphical user interface is nothing but your Windows. So you're having an icon, and you're interacting with your cursor and your keyboard, right? So all are graphically you can interact with the machine, whereas your CLI, you are having a command prompt, right? So here you're just typing whatever you need. So if you type dir, so everything is only in what is that? Only keyboard based or command based. So once if you don't know the command, let's say who or some commands, if you give wrongly, obviously it will throw this error, right? So you should know the commands which you are going to use, and without that you can't do anything, right? So that is the difference between CLI and GUI. Whereas in GUI you can click, or there would be a help section and much more. But yeah, CLI you need to know at least the basic commands, then only you can work on it. And your Linux is almost 90% you will be using CLI only. Okay, so that is the thing. Again, it is not difficult, just to confirm you. So yeah, and now is the init process. So init, let me give a Windows example first, and we will see how it works in your Linux. Okay, so now, yeah. So first thing, let me show you the system configuration. So you just search in your start option. You see this one. So just go to boot, and you see here boot option is safe boot and no GUI boot, right? So this is nothing. If you check this and apply and reboot your machine, there won't be any UI, right? So it will be just like your command prompt, just like your old MS-DOS days, right? So there won't be a GUI in the first place, only command prompt. And yeah, so that is how you can change your boot options or the init process, right? So what is the there is another thing called as advanced boot option. So you might have seen this screen, right? So startup settings, yeah, this one. Yeah, so you might have seen this one. If your startup is having some issue, so you might have seen or end up in this advanced boot option or advanced startup option. So what is this is like, these are all nothing but your init process. So let me, yeah, just a sec. So yeah. So if you see here, so init zero is nothing but shutdown. Okay, so let me type it out. Init zero or the first thing, right? So if you type init zero in a machine or in your Rails server, it will be shut down. So like that, there is not the shutdown option at all, won't be there in your Windows, but some of the option it is there. So safe mode, so which is nothing but your single user mode, and init 2 is your multi-user. So those things you will see, right? So init 1, it is called a single user mode. So this mode we will be seeing in the emergency mode as well. So we will be seeing that in a moment. So what is that emergency mode? Okay, so and the next one is your init 2. So as the name suggests, the single user mode is only I will be having the access to that machine. So you can't take a remote connection to that machine when it is in this mode, right? So what is remote connection? And so we will be seeing that. So the next one is actually that only. So multi-user. So it is nothing but so multi-user means so you can take the remote connection of the same machine. So if I give the AWS login, and you can also take if I share my IP, right? So you can also take a session simultaneously. I can also take a remote session using PuTTY, right? So that is the thing. That is what called as multi-user mode, and without NFS or without network. So the same thing you see here, right? Enable safe mode. If you select 4, it is the actual so single user mode without network. It will be. So if you select 5, it will be with network. So that is what here it is 3. So multi-user mode with network. Okay, so init 4 is not there. So yeah, 4 is not used, and 5 is nothing but your GUI mode, or it is called as X11 or GUI mode. And the last one is init 6. So if you're so anyhow, we will install our machine as a GUI mode. So you can check the run level, which it would be 5. Okay, so the most used run levels are init 3 and init 5. So remaining we will be using in our emergency use, or if it is something goes wrong, right? During that time only we will be utilizing those modes. And the last thing is obviously it is a restart. So if you type init 6, it will be restarting your machine. So this is what your init levels, and the same thing goes for your here as well. So some features it would be there. So this debugging, all those won't be there, but you're getting the point, right? So this is how it works. So in your Windows and in your Linux. So, yeah. So the next one is, and this one like init table. Okay, so wherever you see tab, it is nothing but init table. So what is /etc? Those things we will see in a moment. And yeah, so that is your init, the next boot level. Okay, so next one is your this one. Let me paste it here. Okay, so the next one would be your run level. It is same as your init, right? So there would be a, so what is run level then? It is nothing but a startup service of your mission, or what is a startup service which should be starting along with your mission. Let's say in my case, Chrome is enabled. So Chrome will be starting along with my mission, right? So like that. So any third-party softwares or anything, if you want to be started along with your mission, or that init mode. So in this case, init 3 or 5, I told, right? So in init 3, you need to edit this path actually, /etc /rc dot. This is a path, by the way. So you need to edit this, and you can. So it will be loaded. Right, so that is the run level. So mostly run level. So along with the init tab, sorry, /etc init.d itself, we will be loading most of the system related stuff. But yeah, this option is also there. So you can load some of the third-party softwares. Like let's say you are having a monitoring tool or something, it will be loaded along with the boot. Let's say you selected RC, init 3, which is RC3.d. So along with this one, it will be loaded. Right. So this is the whole path, RC.d. Yeah. Right. So you will be mentioning what is the script or some path, some binary file will be mentioning there. So that would be loaded. Okay. So this is your actual boot order. Yeah. Okay. So is there any doubt, or you want me to explain something? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Raja.
When I want to boot something in this scenario as a startup, say for an example, I might have an application, and that application needs to boot along with the operating system. There's no need for me to go and click and start it. If that is the case, I need to come and edit this particular file, and I need to mention that application over there. That is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. So that mostly actually there is another path. So I will show you that path. So it is called as /etc init.d. So whatever, so most applications, it will automatically create a startup service file here, right? So let's say http.service. So that file will be added here, httpd service, right? So so in most cases, this would be the one init.d. So in some cases, if it is not creating, you can create it under this path, this run level path. Okay, so yeah, mostly it will be created init.d only. So that is the thing. So most like you need not worry about this one, Raja. So anyhow, it will be automatically created. If not so, also it will give that at least status. Okay, so once it is not configured, anyhow you can create under this one, since you will be having a root credentials, right? You can create under init.d only. So no problem in that.
Thank you, Parth.
Yeah. So yeah, so let's move on and install the. So even I didn't install the VMware workstation. So let me go ahead and install. So first thing is, in order to get this file, go to your resource. So let me just send this link once again in the chat. So please do click this link and click on bookmark here. Okay. And why? Because everything related to our session I will be uploading here. So just go to ISO and VMware directory and just download these two files. So once you are downloaded, yeah, so you can follow this one which I'm going to explain now. So just double click the VMware Workstation Pro, the one which you downloaded from here, right? So just a sec. Let me cancel this. And don't worry about the key. Okay, it is I already installed. Fine. So just a sec. Let me verify. I didn't load anything. Okay, fine. Yeah, Daniel, I unmuted you.
Yeah, so I did what you are doing right now, yesterday, but it gave me an error. It said product installer is not support, does not support download.
Oh, okay. So you're on which, like you're using Mac, is it, Daniel?
Windows.
Okay. Which Windows version, by the way?
11. I upgraded it to 11.
Okay. So 11, it should be fine. It should not throw any error or so.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I also have
Okay.
a lot of other softwares, probably.
That is fine. So this is a typical software only. So we will see that. I will just show everyone how it works, and later you can share your screen. Fine. So
All
we
right.
will see that. Yeah. So now we just actually I already installed it. So here it will be showing you license. So once it is popping that one, so you just go to your the same link and go to the same ISO and VMware and double click this key and copy this key. Okay, so this key is not for unique. Okay, so anyone can use this key and a number of times. So there is no issues in that. So you can use this key. And if you're still finding it difficult, you can follow this guide. So Red Hat ISO installation in VMware Workstation. Sorry. Yeah, this one, VMware Workstation installation. Right. So just give next. And yeah, so this pop-up, you can copy this key. So once your key is configured, click on finish and go to your VMware Workstation. So this is the dashboard or the home screen of your VMware Workstation. Yeah, skip this version. So it is just asking you for update. So please don't update. Okay, so your key might be expired if your update, and it like Workstation 16 or 17, it would be the same. So there is not much difference. Okay, so just click on create a new virtual machine and make sure you have the the ISO. So let me just check in my case. Softwares. Okay. So in my case, I have the same ISO here. And yeah, so you just need to select the custom or advanced one. So I just press create a new virtual machine and you will receive this pop-up. So just click on custom next and don't change this hardware compatibility. So what is this one is, so let me go to the last one. You see, it will support only the specific products, ESXi 7 or so you see the limitations as well, right? So once in Drive, you need to download this one. Okay, so just go to resources. So this is the actual Drive link, right? So go to ISO and VMware, the first directory. Double click that and download these two, the last two, VMware Workstation Pro 16.2, this executable and this ISO file, which is around 9.4 gigs, the ISO, this one is 600 MB. Okay, so yeah, so this hardware compatibility, right? So please don't change this one, guys. Let it be in the latest one, right? So it should support almost everything. And yeah, see the limitation, it is huge. So that is the thing. Next. And you can browse your ISO. So let me browse mine. So this. Yeah. So if you selected this one, you can see here, it is, so there is a option called as easy install. So what is easy install is, anyhow, we will see that. So if you select this one also, that is fine, right? So if you select this one and click next and everything you done, you can again need to load that ISO. So better do it here itself. Okay, so you have two options here. So that is the thing. So this is the easy install option. So what is easy install now? So you won't have like it will be selected itself. So it will be anyhow we will see that. So I'll just give the username as user1. So you can give whatever you want and keep password simple, guys. So many have an issue while setting up the password. So in my case, I just set up a password 1234 because it is your lab, right? So you can be a bit liberal on your password. And the next main thing is the same password only will be used for your root account or your administrator account, right? So that is the thing. So anyhow, you will be the one accessing this machine, right? So you can keep a simple password. That should be fine. So click on next. And this is a very important one. So where you want to save your mission. So if you're having, let me show you. So if you are having multiple partitions in your Windows, so please do use other than C. So always don't prefer your C partition C. Why? Because again, your Windows operating system is utilizing that, right? So in this case, you will need at least 20 to 50 gigs. So for your RHEL, if you're going to practice your disk management and all, you need some more space. So better to always, if you're not having any choice, obviously use this. You must use only one partition, right? So if you're having multiple one, so in my case, I have a separate disk only. So I'll be using D. Okay, sorry, F. So I will be creating a new VM and I'll be giving a name RHEL. Okay, so next, and number of processors. So by default, you just give one. So one is enough. So two, if you're having a like a core count of 8, you can give 2 also. In my case, I can give 2, but one is enough for our RHEL machine, right? So next, and this one is again an important one. So if you're giving or if you're having only 4 gigs, right? So it will be by default selecting the recommended memory. So it will be only 1 gig will be selected, right? So yeah, so don't try to change this one. So let it be the recommended one. So in my case, I have 8 gigs, right? So it automatically selected 2 gigs. So 1 gig, it's also, it will be usable. So don't worry that, okay, it is very less size. So it will be usable. So this one is a important one. Network connection. You can either use bridged or NAND. So network address translation. You can use that or bridge. Both are same. So either one. I personally use NAT. So that should be fine. And what is the SCSI controller you want to use? So you can keep this all a recommended one. So again, disk type. So even though you select NVMe here, it depends on your hard disk speed. So even though you're, let's say in my case, I have a SSD, right? So mine is a NVMe SSD. So it would be a bit faster. So in your case, if you are using a hard disk or an SSD, it depends on that speed only. Whatever speed or type you're selecting here, it depends on that speed only. So always keep it as a recommended one, right? So next, and obviously we are going to create a new virtual disk. Next, and let it be 20 gigs. Okay, so this one is an important concept. So this is called as thin provisioning, thick provisioning. So let me quickly explain that. So what is the difference between thin and thick provisioning? So in your VMware vSphere, you will be seeing that itself, thin and thick provisioning. So what is thick provisioning? It is nothing but, let's say you are having 20 gigs, right? So this whole 20 gigs, it will be allocated right away. The whole block, it will be, so let's say in my case, the hard disk is around 200 gigs, right? 20 gigs will be right away allocated for that VM disk, right? So whereas in thin provisioning, it will be allocating in an incremental way. So the first thing it will be allocating is around just let's say 200 MB, right? So and gradually once I'm using the disk, it will be filling up the disk till 20 gigs, right? So you're getting right. So this one right away it will be allocating the whole 20 gigs, whereas here it will be incrementally allocating based on our usage. So that is what called as thin provisioning and thick provisioning. Right. So yeah. So let me select thin provisioning only. So and the next one is your where you want to store your disk. And it is a VMDK. So what is VMDK? Is VM disk. Okay. So and let me store it in the same path, new VM. And I'll create a directory called as disk. Inside that, I'll store it as 1. Okay, so in order to easily identify that, and click on next. So it just gave a summary version, what and all we just selected now, and we are going to boot to the machine. So if it is throwing any error here, so your virtualization might have been not enabled. So that is where you will be facing that virtualization error. Okay, so it might be not enabled or something might be wrong. So that is the reason you will see that error, right? So if you're using, in my case, I'm using AMD CPU, right? So I will be receiving AMD VMTX, and in your case, you might receive Intel VMTX. So that is the thing. So if you're receiving that error, always go to your the specific vendor. So just Google that and fix that one. So very, very important, right? So you need to enable this in order for it to be working. So yeah, let it install. So once we see that easy install screen, then I'll be moving on to the cloud, how to install in the cloud. Actually, yeah, it is loading. Yeah. So here you see that installation summary, right? So here is where you will be selecting all the like configuration thing, but you can see automatically it's selected. I didn't done anything. Why? Because it is a easy install process. You see here, right? Easy install is installing this version. So we selected prior to that screen. right? So that is the reason it right away moving on to the installation progress. So our ISO is a easy install enabled one. So that is the reason. So here around the 1000 plus 1000 plus packages it will be installing. So let's see that progress and we'll move on. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Mohammed. So obviously that link is being. I won't disable that link. Don't worry. Okay. So you can use that link anytime. So yeah, that link will be there forever. Right. So you see this link has been created around September month. So that link won't be changed. Okay. So that's the thing. In some cases, this might stuck. So you just need to reboot this one using this restart guest. Again, this is the settings guys. Okay. So if you want to suspend your mission, you can click this. Suspend is nothing but hibernation or sleep in your Windows. Sleep, yeah, it is almost kind of sleep method. And suspend means all the things will be like, it won't be kind of pause. Okay. So it will be your whatever you're opened, right? It will be staying there. Just it will be kind of suspended as of now. So again, you have a shutdown option and restart. Okay, so that is your VM settings, and you can see your settings here as well. So if you want to add hardware on the fly, you can add here your. So I just went to this VM settings via VM and settings here. Or you can go via here as well. So right click settings. Okay, so and here also you have the same power options. Okay, so this is a very toned down version of your VMware vSphere. So your vSphere, let me just show you an image of that. So I will try to install and show you in later session. In the last session, we will see that. But yeah, this is how your VMware or in your work environment, you will be seeing like this. So this is what your vSphere, and this is a older version, by the way. But yeah, it would be the same. So there would be a domain, and there would be a data center inside, and yeah, these are all the separate VM, and it is in a cluster. Okay, so and there is a data store is not there, I guess. Yeah, data store is this icon. So like that, this is what in your work you will be seeing, not this one or not your virtual box. Okay, so these are all just for a commercial use, not in enterprise. You won't see these. So only this one you will be seeing. And yeah, so that is your vSphere. So I will try to show you how to install that, because vSphere is specifically built only for data centers, right? So I do have that version. So here, yeah, VMware. This is again an older version. So I will show you guys that one later session. Okay. So okay. So now it is installing around this many components. It will install. Okay. So while it is installing, you just let me show you how to prep your machine for the people who are not doesn't want to install in your local machine, or you're not having the specific system requirement. We will be seeing how to install in your AWS. Okay, so any one of the cloud service provider, such as AWS, Azure. So Azure, I won't show you guys. Okay, so I will try to create a document and put it in the um, put it in this resource section, because Azure is not giving a free $100, which they used to give, whereas AWS is giving a free tier. GCP is also giving a free tier, but they are giving us a $300 free credit. Okay, so if you are a student, then you are eligible for this $100 in Azure. So yeah, Daniel, I'll be showing you now. So let's see how to install in your AWS. So AWS, you need to create an Amazon account with your Gmail ID or any mail ID. You can create an account. So just click on create a new AWS account. And yeah, so you need to give a name and your email ID. And once you're done, you have two payment options. So you can give credit card, you can give the full thing, and debit as well, which is allowed from past 2 years. They are allowing debit card as well in AWS. Okay, so that is the thing, and this is the link AWS dot. Copy paste it. Yeah, just go to this one, aws.amazon.com. Okay, so so once you're done, and you see here, right? So free tier. So you can use Amazon EC2 instance. Let me just show you. Once your billing, it might take at least in some cases right away within hours it will be approved. So if your credit card is not approved or some issue you are facing, you can raise a support query with the AWS. They will support you. And yeah, so that is the thing. Let me just log in with mine. And I'll just show you this one. So the approval for AWS will be much faster than your GCP. Okay, so that is the thing. So AWS, you need to, so don't worry about all these services. Okay, so there will be plethora of services. So you'll be shocking and okay, it is a lot to take in. So don't go to any services. So just you need to do in search type EC2. So EC2 full form is Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, so EC2, which is Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, so wherever they are using quote unquote compute is nothing but your VM. Okay, so your VMware or your virtually you're going to use a mission, right? So it is nothing but okay. Cloud is like it is nothing but you're going to access a mission from some data center in North Virginia. So even you don't know the exact location of the data center and all, you'll be allocated some random data center or sorry, rack service login, and you will be using that. Again, this is a closed environment or a black box one. So you don't have a control to it. Whereas in your local or like your private cloud or most of the companies have their own data centers, right? So there you will have much more visibility that, okay, this particular data center is where like around 1,000 VMs are running. And if something goes wrong, you will have much more how to say, it is under your control. Whereas here, there obviously there won't be a downtime most cases, right? So they are promising an availability rate of 99 point sorry, 9 times that availability percentage. Whereas again, still it depends, right? So it's your call. If you want to have your own data center, so you can build that, but that is way too costly. So that's what. So you can rely on them, but with a that it is not under your control, right? So that is the thing. So just this is the actual AWS dashboard or the console. So this is your console, right? So just go to search for EC2, go inside, and this is your EC2 dashboard. So just click on launch instance. and you can give any name here. So test VM and scroll down. So there is a thing called as AMIs. These are all. So Amazon Mission Image. So so this is nothing but your ISO, but in virtually you're going to select that. So Amazon licensed all this on your behalf. So you need not even pay for the license. Obviously, you will pay some amount, but again, that will also will be along with your trial, it will be. So you need not pay at the end of the day. Okay. So you have many ISOs here. Even macOS is also there, and just select the Red Hat one. Okay. So Red Hat and select the free tier. So you have RHEL 9 itself here, and even SSD is there. So both are included with the. So always see this tag free tier eligible. So if you don't see this tag or this, lastly you will see this info. So if you don't see these two, so please create a new account. Okay, so you might have used this account prior to this one, or somewhere you might have used that account, and that would be expired within 1 year or so. So always try to create a new account, and you can use the same credit card also. So there is no issue with that, right? So because at the end of the day, you should not pay for it, right? So it might incur some cost. It should be very less or very minimal, because you are not doing any production server or production issues, right? You're going to practice for the exam or practice for your class understanding. So it should be free at the end of the day. Okay, so the next one is the instance type. So there will be a lot of instance, but you will be going with T2 micro. So this is more than enough. And you see here on-demand Windows pricing. So this is the actual pricing for it. If you are so this is one RHEL 0.07 USD, right? So per hour if you are using, and anyhow you will be stopping the machine every now and then, right? So you won't be continuously turning it on. So that is the thing. So I have a lot of keys. So the next one is your authentication. So the authentication, you have key based only, all the cloud service providers. So let me put it here. Okay, so key based in the sense you need to download the public key. So the public key would be, sorry, let me create a new key. Batch 176. Okay, so, and you have again key pair type. So there is a lot of key pair type. It is RSA, DSA, ECDSA, and EC 25519. EC or ED. Yeah. So these many key pair types are there. So RSA is the preferred one. So we'll use that. And so again, you have two options, whether you want to use OpenSSH or PuTTY, right? So we'll use PuTTY one. And anyhow, we will be using almost in your company also, you'll be using this one only. This is for opening a remote session. So we are going to access the machine remotely, right? So obviously, as I told, you don't have control over the data center. So we don't know where it is residing. So even though if you know, you can't go to the data center and access that machine, right? Obviously. So remotely we are going to access this machine, and the key is downloaded if you see here, right? So now you need not change all this network settings and all, and firewall. Don't change any of these. And in your storage also, obviously you have 30 gigs of storage, and don't right away allocate the whole 30 gigs here. So we need that remaining 20 gigs for practicing your disk management. So 10 gigs is enough. Okay. And it will be an SSD storage, by the way. And this is a summary. Whatever you selected, your ISO is your Red Hat, RHEL 9, by the way, and how much storage is 10. And that's it. And you must see this info. So if you don't, again create a new account. Okay, so this is very, very important, guys. If you don't see this, it will incur cost in your credit card or debit card. So just click on launch instance, and again never delete your key. Okay, so let me just paste the key here. So this is the key, right? So that's what. So please never ever delete this key, and you can even keep a copy of that key to some like your Google Drive or some place. So because again you can load that key to a same instance. Sorry, if you remove that key, again you need to create a new instance only. So there is you need to use NFS to load the same key again. A lot of things you need to do. So better to keep hold of that key. Okay, so now the instance is running. So now just check this box and you have this IP. So you can either connect via IP or your DNS. So you can select this IP and you can click on this connect as well. So you will see this screen. So you see here your username, it will be displaying here. So let it be the default one, easy to user. And let's go to SSH connection or SSH client. So now is where you will be downloading the kitty. Okay, so PuTTY or kitty both are same, so you can use any one. So I will be use kitty a lot. Why? Because it is having much more features than PuTTY. Okay, so Super PuTTY is also there, and many versions of that is also there. I'll be using this one. So even this is included in the resource, or you can even Google kitty. Okay, so if you just search, and the first link is this one, same version it will be. And yeah, so just right click this and pin to the taskbar, so that yeah, the same thing you need to pin your VM. So ease of access it will be. And yeah, so okay, so our local machine is loaded. Let's see both local machine and your AWS. So first thing we'll see our AWS, how it is loaded. So you can go here and you can copy this DNS, or you can come here and you can copy this public IPv4 address. Okay, so just copy paste in the host name. Again, this is your kitty configuration. So we are going to access it via SSH. So again, what is SSH is secure shell. Sorry. Yes, I clicked. So SSH is secure shell. So what is that? That is the way you're going to access your machine, and in your Windows it will be RDP. Okay, so which is remote desktop, and that one will be using the port called as sorry, the port is 3389, and your SSH will be using 22. So you can even see that here, right? So with this port, you're going to access the machine. So now again, please don't right away click on open. Okay, so we need to save this profile. So just save it as AWS, and you need to, so yeah, so right away you can change all these settings. So let me just go through once. Let me remove the bell and window. So this window, right? So this lines of scroll back. So when you're viewing a log, right? So you can't view the whole log right away. So you need to like, it should be a huge number. So just to give a huge number like a 2 million or so. And you can change the appearance as well. So you can change the font or anything. I won't change either of those. And come to connection. So connection, you can give 30 here. So every 30 seconds once, it will send a null packet to that server. So in order to keep the session alive. Okay, so come to the data section and type EC2 user in the username section. So why we are doing all this is creating a session profile. Okay, so you need not type everything every time. So in order to avoid that, you're going to do this one. So right away, expand this SSH option and click on auth and load your private key. Again, this is a fork of putty. Okay, so your kitty is, so now you can navigate to that key. So PPK file, and so you see here putty private key. So that is your PPK file. And now you can go back to your session and save it. So now if you double click that, and you must see this security alert. So this is nothing but a fingerprint, it is be calling as. So we will see this extensively, what is fingerprint and what is this trusted resource later, right? So while we do the SSH key pair, so click on accept now, and it should automatically log into your mission. So we are remotely successfully access the AWS mission, which is running in North Virginia. Okay, so yeah, so that is your mission. So now you can type date, and let me type uptime. So the server has been up for 5 minutes. So just now we started the mission, right? And now we type a command called as cat etc red hat release. So just to see what is your OS version, just like your in Windows you see here, right? So similarly, yeah, just seeing the version here. So yeah, you just type all these commands. Anyhow, I'll be giving these commands in the notes of the day, notes for the day. So just type these commands and keep it. So just if you can't see this, or if you are having any issues, do let me know in my mail. I'll be dropping or adding my mail here. Okay, so Daniel is raising the hand. Just a sec, Daniel. So I'll be showing you how to configure in the local machine, and we'll be solving your doubt. So this is how the first screen you will be seeing once you configure your local machine. So don't right away boot to user one. Click on not listed and type root. The username is root. The password is 1234. In my case, and in your case, you can give whatever password you select, type while you setting up the machine, right? So yeah, so this one is loaded, and you can close this dialog box, and you don't worry about the system not register. So we'll register that later. Close this all. So go to activities. So in your AWS, we got this IP, right? So without IP, you can't mention, okay, what is the mission to your PT, right? So now, so same thing goes in your local mission as well. So without that IP, the machine doesn't know, right? So you need to type a command called as if config -a. So this is the command. So if config -a, or you have IPA also. So yeah, if config should be fine. So this command to know the IP addresses of NIC. So NIC is network interface card. So there is only one NIC card in this case. So these are all loopback address, and these are all virtual one. So you need not, and don't configure this. Okay, so this is not the actual mission. So this is the actual NIC card or usable NIC card. So just copy this one, and again, if you are doing a new session, you can configure this one. So let me configure local VM, right? So then let me remove this. Let me change this one. So the whole text will be in green color, and the connection 30. So in data, since it is not a key-based authentication, right? So right away you can, and the direct root login is enabled. So let me directly log in. Just type root and 1234 in the auto login. And you can even bootstrap some of the commands. So if you type a command here like a date, so every time you open a session, that command will be running. The first thing it will run is that command. So again, come back to session and save. Okay, so now you open here, you see it is, so this same server, we accessed it remotely, and it is this is a GUI mode. If you see here, just type run level, you see here N5, which is your init 5. Again, it is a X11 or GUI mode, right? So you can even type the same thing here as well. It would be the same. Again, it is a same server. So many do have that doubt that, okay, it is not the same server. So let me create a dummy file and show you. So just go to activities and go to file explorer here, and let me come back to my QT and let me touch a new file. So the file name is our batch number. So Linux 176. You see the file is created here. So it is the same mission, but remotely we are accessing that mission. Okay, so that is the thing. So after logging into your server, so you need to type again a command to change your host name. So the command is hostname ctl and set hostname. So whatever hostname you want, you can set it here. So in my case, I will be typing hostname dot local domain. So since we don't have a domain controller, so we will give it as dot local domain. So just type this whatever I mentioned in the command. So we'll see what is this command and all later. So but anyhow, you need to change the host name. Okay, so set host name. So as of now, the host name is localhost, right? So you need to change that to Logic Labs. So you can give whatever you want. So I'm just giving this one dot local domain. Hit enter, and I will take a new session or duplicate session. So duplicate means again it won't ask you for the password and all. It will be right away logging. So now once it is loaded, I will come to your doubt demo. So perfect. You see here Logic Labs. So now here also you just type date, uptime, and cat/etc red hat -release. So so you see here I didn't type the whole thing, right? Why? Because I'm using tab. So if you use tab, it will autofill. Okay, and if you use double tab, it will show you what are all the files starting with the 2 letters. Anyhow, I'll explain this all later, but just you need not type everything fully. So just always have a habit of using tab. So just give enter, and we are using rel 8.4. So this is your local machine, right? So this is your AWS, and this is your local machine. And now let me unmute you, Daniel. So once, yeah. So now we will see GCP as well. Quickly, I will show you how to configure in GCP. So cloud.google.com. So this is the link, by the way, for GCP. So let me put it here above AWS. Let me put it later. So for GCP, this is the link. And GCP, mostly it allows only credit card. And that too only Mastro and Visa card only it does allow. Okay, so you can't use RuPay card. If you are trying to, it might fail. Okay, and you just the one best thing of GCP is you can use your okay, I need to log in my case. Just a sec, let me quickly log in. So we are using a common ID. So okay. So you see here, the first thing here is get $300 in free credit and free usage of 20 plus products, which is nothing but including your EC2 or virtual instance in this case. And once you logged in with your Gmail ID, you can click on go to console. So it will be asking for your payment, and in GCP, the payment verification might take some time. In some cases, it might take even a whole day also. So once you're done that, you will be seeing this is your dashboard. Okay, so the first thing in GCP, the hierarchy is it will be the first thing is your project. So there you must be part of at least one project. So by default, it will create a thing called as project. So everything, whatever you're doing will be stored as a project here, right? So even if you want to create a new project and create every services once again, or use every services once again, you can do that as well. So, but that's what it is considered as a project here. And the same thing. So you just go to compute engine. So if you try to navigate from here, it might be a bit hard. So yeah, it is under last compute engine and VM instance, or you can use a global search here, search for VM, right? So VM instance under compute engine. So this is the one, and click on create instance. Again, the same settings it would be, but the regions might be a bit different. Okay, so again, we won't change the regions, right? So that is the thing. So instance name, let me give same Linux 176. And again, don't change your machine configuration here. Okay, so yeah, you can select this E2. And one good thing of using your GCP is you can go from, sorry, you can even test even AMD EPYC one. So which is around 60 cores also is there. So you can test that for at least 1 hour. So you won't have cost incurring a lot. Why? Because if you see here, if I select that, and this estimation is for 1 whole month, by the way, whatever you're seeing here, you see here, if you're using this a very big machine, by the way, this one is, see your configuration would be, or your memory itself is around 240 gigs. So this is one major good thing about the GCP is that so whatever cost it is incurring, right? It will be this, so this $31 you won't pay, right? So it will be incurred in this $300. Okay, so the free credits around the 28K it will be in your INR. So you can select either one and test it. But if you're selecting the very huge one, so you need to recreate. Why? Because it might exhaust the cost. So you can go YouTube. So that this is more than enough, by the way. So that is the thing. You see here the description is low cost day-to-day computing, this one. And here one another good thing is memory, it is 4 gigs, whereas you in your it is so in your PC2 it is your memory is not a huge one, only 1 gig they are giving you. Okay, so that is the thing. Here it is 4 gigs and one or two CPU it might give. So again, don't change any other settings. So you can, yeah, so right away by default it will be selected as Debian operating system. So you need to change this one. So click on change and change this Debian to Red Hat. So scroll down, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, select that and the version. So here you have even 7 also. So we can select 8 or 9. Either way, it should be the same and select this. This is a mandatory one, license type is pay as you go, and you need not change any of this. Size is 20 gigs is fine, no problem. Select, and yeah. So actually, in my case, I exhausted that $300. Okay, so I don't see that option here. So here also it will be showing you that information screen. Okay, so that information screen, you must see like the $300 it will be showing you. So this instance will be consuming that free credits, like that it will be showing you. So in my case, it is not, but it should. Okay, so if not, again, use a different Google account. So that is the thing. So the point here is, please don't spend for your VM, because anyhow you're practicing, right? So you should not spend in the first place. So again, a disclaimer is GCP might be a bit slow than AWS. Okay, so but they're offering a lot, so that is the reason we are preferring. I personally prefer GCP. So yeah, Mirabel. So you can see the recording in the YouTube channel. So Logic YouTube / Logic Labs. Right, so even yesterday's recording you might have seen here. Okay, they didn't upload it, is it? Okay, yeah, but you will be seeing or it will be uploaded here, Mirabel. Okay, so to the YouTube channel. Yeah, Imtiaz, I unmuted you. You can skip down. So this VM is started. You see the status here, right? So the one major good thing about GCP is you don't need to even have a kitty also. So you can use the Cloud Shell or Cloud Access. So just click on this SSH. It will be opening in this like a separate window. Okay, so here it will be transferring all the key and it will be opening a kitty session inside a browser. So you will not even rely on this one. And it will have all the same like features also, so you will not worry here. Authorize, just a sec, let me authorize it. Yeah, so this is the one. So right away you need to do sudo su-root. So why? Because the root credentials, it will be not logging in. This is a common ID, right? So a common Gmail ID. So your Gmail ID only will be visible. So you just type sudo su-root. So you'll be logged in as root account. And even in your AWS, you need to do that. Perfect. Who sent that? Okay, yeah. So here also, you need to do sudo su-root. Okay. So that's it. You switch to root and you have all the privilege. So once booted, you need to type this one. It can be of AWS or GCP or anything. You need to type sudo su-root. Switch to root user. Okay, so yeah. So is there any doubt setting up your mission? Or like Daniel had an issue, right? So let me do one thing, Daniel. So let me make you as the presenter and you can put families. So yeah, I will make you as the host, and you can share your screen and you can unmute yourself.
All right. So the first question I wanted to ask was I'm using mobile XTAM. Do
Mhm.
you have like any preference? I know we are using PTK. Like for production, you said PTK is
Yeah,
the
mobile,
best.
anything is fine. At the end of the day, it is a remote access, right? Anything should be
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So just go to your VM, or let's see what is the issue you are facing. Okay, yeah, you're opening that. Actually, okay. Let me take the control of your machine. Just a sec. Can you accept the control?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let me put it on. Does not support downgrades. Okay. Let me see. Process 32-bit or 64-bit. 64-bit only. Okay, so I guess you already have VM, is it? VMware. Yeah, you already have, and you might have a latest one. So this is the 16th version, or the version 16. In your case, you might have used 17. Okay, yeah, you see here, you install the 17 one, and can you go to the resource page? Yeah, you can take
Where?
the resource drive link which I shared, right? Can you
Oh,
go to
yes.
that? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah. Let's see, the key is working for 17 as well. If not, I will give a key for you, Daniel. Okay, so you can use version 7.
If not, I can, because I already created the AWS.
No problem. Actually, there is no issue in your end. Okay, so you're just trying to install the VMware, but why it is not allowing is you already installed VMware 17. So that is the thing. So you can uninstall and install the one which I shared you. You can uninstall VMware Workstation 17, or you can go to that link. So just go to the drive. Let's see the key is working or not, and it should be fine.
Okay, just give me a second.
Sure. Let me quickly share with the drive link. I thought it is a weird issue, but it is just a common issue. So no problem. Yeah, I just now shared in the chat, so you can. I guess you already opened it here. Let me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to drag it.
Yeah, I made it full screen, so yeah. Fine. This is a key for 16. Let's see, it is working for something. It is asking yes or no, right? You just give yes.
Okay. License key.
Yeah, expected, because that is for version 16, right? So no issues.
Yes.
I will give a key for version 17 as well, or I will update it here. So you can install that, okay? Or the better option is you can uninstall this one and you can install
17.
16. You can uninstall
Okay.
17 and install 16, and
Okay.
this key should work for 16.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
will do that. Let
Yeah.
me not take the time. I will do that.
Sure. No problem. So
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Let me share my screen. So is there any doubts, anyone? So please do let me know. Or you can't. If still you want to show you the installation, or if you are stuck, you have this documented steps as well. So you can follow this RHEL installation on GCP, right? So this is the dashboard. So actually the building one, so it depends actually. So the building is a bit more complicated in GCP, by the way. So you need to be part of either Mastro or Visa, right? So the payment gateway. So that's what. So please do try both AWS or GCP, and yeah, stick with either one. So don't right away create on both. Okay, so because your trial will be ending in GCP for another 90 days, it will be. And in your AWS, one good thing is it will be for the whole year. The free tier will be. So that is a good thing. So the installation for RHEL ISO also is listed here. You see here, right? The whole steps, whatever I shared you, it will be a bit small. Yeah. So you see here, all the steps are listed here. So you can follow this one, or still you're facing any doubts, you can drop an email to this email ID.
The WhatsApp. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Daniel.
So the WhatsApp group, it says only the administrators can send message.
Yeah, you can't drop a message in WhatsApp group. So always, yeah, you can communicate with me if you have any doubt. Okay, so please drop an email to me. So that is the only way of communication. So even in my email ID, I might have, yeah. So it is also mentioned in this document. So yeah, this is the mail ID, and the payment related stuff, you can reach out to the group admins, payment related, or you're having any portal issue, right? So those things you can reach out to them. And even the payment link, you just click here, it will be redirecting you to the payment link. Okay, so again, in the next session, it might be that a new Zoom link will be sent. So in another 1 week, it will be changed, right? So please, if you're fine with the way I teach or I approach, you can pay for and continue with the session, right? So that's what we see, the both VMware Workstation method, and yeah, we saw two, AWS and GCP. Azure actually, please don't prefer that actually. Why? Because Azure is not, again, they're not offering a good thing for especially lab practice, right? So anyhow, I will try to make a document for Azure installation as well. But yeah, personally, I don't advise you to use their, there is no free tier. So if you're a student, please do use their one. If not, so avoid Azure, okay? And this is the today's session. So on next session, actually, we will start what is file system, and you'll see a lot of stuff in next session, the important commands, and so what is shell, and much more deeper we'll be seeing. Okay, so yeah, how do we reach out to you if we have difficulties? That's what Mirabel. So you can drop an email to me at any time. I will try to respond to you. And again, so whatever we discussed today, right? So if you're having any issues setting up your machine, so we will have a AnyDesk connect. Okay, so you just go to Google and type AnyDesk and download this, and you can drop a mail to me with the AnyDesk number, we can connect one-on-one and I will solve your issue, because during the session, it will take a lot of time, right? So you just drop an email to me with the error screenshot, as Daniel explained, right? So he's shown the error screen, that pop-up window. So like that, you just share it, we will see that, right? So, and please, yeah, that is the only way of communication. Okay, so using mail. So I will try to respond almost right away. So yeah, please do wait at least in some cases 1 day. So I will try to respond. Right. So, and yeah, so that's it for the day. And this slide will be shared with you guys. Okay. So yeah, thank you all, and thanks for your time. And yeah, have a great weekend then. Thanks all. Bye-bye.